The other thing I want to mention is all of what I'm going to do today is in this video. You can do with the GUI or with a fully permissioned agent or with the TUI. But we're going to do it manually. I think it's still a good idea to understand how the config is set up so that you can modify it and understand it if something breaks, and potentially also mess with the source code if you want to make your own version of OpenClaw or modify it or contribute. So anyway, what we're going to do today is manually configure a second agent, and it's relatively simple to do. And let's get started. Head over to the OpenClaw documentation, and we're going to click on agents up here at the top, and then go down to multi-agent routing. We're going to use the CLI agent helper to get it started. The first thing is it's going to create like some basic workspace information about basically like where the agent does its work. And after that, we need to bind it to a channel like Telegram. In this case, we're going to bind it to Telegram. So first of all, I'm just going to start with something simple today. I'm going to create like a health monitor bot. But for now, we're just going to give it access to cron jobs, so it can create a cron job and basically create reminders for me. Later on, we'll add some additional functionality, but that's what I'm going to start with. So I've got OpenClaw running on a dedicated machine. It is a Windows PC, and I did the install with WSL Linux install because it's simple. That's the way I've been running it anyway. And I'm remoting over to the this PC that's on my home network using RDP. And you feel free to try to hack it. It's running on the local loopback address anyway. There's nothing can reach it except stuff on my home network. And then run. Let's see. So let's call it health monitor. Let's see what it does. So it wants to create the workspace directory here, and I think it's asking me to confirm that. That's not totally clear, but I'm going to go ahead and enter. This is where it's going to set up all the files for the memory and the personality and all that for the agent. All right, finished. Okay, great. Let's see. Copy auth profiles from main. No. Configure auth. Yeah, let's go ahead and configure auth for this agent. Let's set it up. Let's try to use an Anthropic API key. I'm actually using an OpenAI API key for the other one. So let's mix it up. Let's try Anthropic. Anthropic API key. So the next thing we'll need to do is go create an API key. So, all right. So head over to platform.cloud.com. Go ahead and create one. Create an API key. And enjoy that key. I will definitely delete it. All right, great. So configure channels, blah. So we're just going to set it up to use Telegram. And let's go ahead and do Telegram. So modify settings. Yes. So I have some other ones in here. And we're going to add a new account. So let's go ahead and add a new account. So I think what it's asking for is the Telegram user ID. So what we're going to do is we're going to head over to the Telegram. And if you message the user info bot, make sure you select the right one. And it will pop up your ID and some other info, and you can use that. So yeah, just go ahead and copy that and paste it in. So to set up a new bot in Telegram, you just want to message the bot father. So look up the bot father. We'll go ahead and start the bot father. And we're going to do new bots. Let's see, we've got to choose a name for our bot. So let's say health monitor. That's great. Now we need a username. It's got to be a unique username. So I'm sure health monitor bot is taken. Let's say not taken. Okay. So we'll go ahead and copy that key. And that is our API token that we're going to use to essentially link these two together. Let's just look at our bot token. There we go. So Telegram's configured. This part's a little confusing to me. Why it's still asking. I think we're done. And so let's see what we got. Yeah. So it's telling us we need to set up the allow from the DM policy so people can't use our new agent, except the agent is not actually running. Yeah, so I'm actually going to go into the config. So if you find if you're running this on Windows with WSL, you can find it by the Linux connection down here in your file explorer. You go into .OpenClaw, that's where most of the stuff is. So this is the main config, this OpenClaw.json file. And then for the agents, the different agents, the workspace for the main one is here. So this should be the original and the default. And then for agents, it'll create a separate folder. At least that's the way we had it. Yeah, I guess that's the way it sets it up. So now we have 3 agents, and we have the new health monitor agent. We need 3 things in the config. We need that agent listed in the list of agents. It requires an ID, a name, and most importantly, the workspace, which is where the personality files and memory files live. And then we will need, in our case, we're going to need a channel to communicate with that new agent. In our case, we're going to set up Telegram. So we set up a new Telegram channel. And the way we link that channel is with the bot token. And then I've been using allow from lists rather than using the default DM pairing. Allow lists explicitly only allow connections from the Telegram user ID you set up. This is my Telegram user ID here. And then we'll need a binding. So the binding will bind the agent's workspace information with the Telegram channel. So in this case, we've bound our health monitor agent with the Telegram health monitor. Once we have that, we can restart the gateway and everything should be linked up. And then the one thing I am wondering about is there's no real workspace for it. For some reason, it didn't create the workspace, which I'm a little surprised about. So I'm just going to take the other one that I have here, and I guess I'm going to copy it. Oh, I'm going to copy it and paste it here, and we're going to call it. I think that it should do that for us. I'm not sure why. Oh, is it supposed to? No. Somehow I figured it out. Well, I'm just curious. Let's just see if we restart it now, if anything happens. We're going to restart the gateway. And then let's see if we have agents. Let's see how many agents we have going. All right, so then health monitor configured, Telegram's configured. That's great. Okay, let's give it a go then. We'll click on our new bot and start it and see if it's working. It should be linked up now. And voila. Great. And this is what we'd expect. It's since we copied all the personality info from one of my other bots, it thinks it's the other bot. So we need to fix that. But the other thing is, so before we do that, let's just ask it if it can set a reminder. Because it shouldn't be able to set a reminder because we haven't enabled the cron tool yet. So I'm going to tell it to remind. So what this should do is create a cron job. And there it goes. That's perfect. So it's like it says, lovely, you run something like this. It doesn't have access to run bash commands, shell commands. It also doesn't have access to create cron jobs. So that's perfect. That's what we want. So let's go configure this a little bit better. So anyway, what we're interested in doing is we want to give it the cron tool, the built-in cron tool, which should allow it to create the scheduled reminders. I'm only allowing the group automation, which gives us access to cron and also access to restart the gateway. File system workspace only is true. Elevated enabled is false. So it can't do anything outside the file system, which is great. Outside the workspace, I mean that it's operating in, which is what we want. And once I did that, I came back to the health monitor. I started it up just like I did from the bot father. And now it's got my reminder. And so that should run every day at 3 p.m. And we can add additional functionality later. But the other thing I think we should do really quickly is update its personality, since we copied the information from one of my other bots. So this one's going to get probably a little bit confused. So we're going to go into the workspace for the new agent. So it's under workspace, and then and stuff you set up in the config. In our case, it's the health monitor one. You don't ignore these zone identifiers. These are something to do with WSL. I think the files that we want to modify are identity and user, maybe memory and soul. So let's start with identity, see what it says. Great. Yeah, this is copied obviously from my other one. Who are you? Let's say health monitor bot. You are a let's see, what do we call it? It's SEO focused AI assistant. You're a health assistant, personal assistant, personal health assistant. Practical, sharp, clap, compassionate, and empathetic. And let's add like a muscle. Let's do avatar. I'm not going to miss that one. Okay, primary purpose, help Adam Dom. Track his health. Especially daily medications. Personal site, company site. Not important for this one. So let's go ahead and save that. Who am I? Health monitor bot. So let's see what they got in here. There's already some. Part of me just wants to wipe all this stuff out and see what happens. Actually, 2026. Oh, this is old, so let's just drop it. Let's just delete, 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 delete. Wait, delete, yes. And then let's just try to restart the monitor. And let's stop that. Mhm. All right, let's go back to say, hey there, hey there. Who are you? Hey Adam, I'm your health monitor bot, your assistant, personal assistant. I'm here to help you with your medications. Great, and voila. And that's where I'm going to wrap this up. And yeah, next time we can try to adding some additional functionality. Again, we can do all this from the GUI or the TUI, but I think it's important to understand how it's all set up. Yeah, so especially like if it does something you don't want it to do and then you have to go and edit yourself, something like that. Also, I like the idea of starting like with zero permissions and then, slowly adding minimal functionality required for that particular bot's function. And that's actually what the documentation recommends too. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope there was something useful about that. And next video, we'll do something similar. We'll add some additional functionality, or one of the things I want to do actually is add teams too. So